So how do you deal with spirituality during an election year? Hey guys, it's John here on the back deck enjoying a beautiful mug of coffee. I am not one who gets deep into political videos at all, and I will not, in this video, in any way, shape, or form, side with any one side of the political structures. I won't side with Republicans. I won't side with Democrats. I won't side with independents. Although independents, I have a lot of respect for independents because they are keeping their mind open to all things. I'm more in line with that sort of thinking in a way. So when it comes to being a spiritual person during an election year, it comes down to the simplicity of love and fear. You remaining loving no matter what fearful people are saying around you. You remaining in a state of recognizing that they're the ones in fear, that's theirs, not yours, and you staying in a beautiful, loving place. Last presidential election cycle, I had a woman standing in my backyard as her son took down a tree. And she said to me, "Yesterday, I set my neighbor's Joe Biden sign on fire." And I looked at her and I said, "I like you, but we're never going to talk about politics." She ended up baking me Christmas cookies, and she asked me to coach her son on how to further his life. And she had no idea what my political structure was. I just said, we're not going to talk about politics, period. My mother and father are an interesting couple. My mother was a liberal Democrat. My father was a Republican. They had a rule in their house that they didn't talk about politics, and their vote was a secret. They kept their vote a secret. They still didn't get along because their ideologies were vastly different on most things. But when it comes down to voting, my brother-in-law is a one-issue voter. His one issue is gun rights, Second Amendment, right? I, too, am a one-issue voter. My issue is called Kynan Joseph. He's my son. I vote for anybody who I think is on the path to creating a more loving and more beautiful world for him so he can have a better life, so he can have a great life. So I'm looking at whoever's in front of me, whoever's talking about things that will help my son in the future, they got my vote. I don't care which side of the field they're on. If they're on the blue or the gray, doesn't matter to me, right? It only matters to me what they're saying about my son, right? What they're saying about my son's future. When you look at it from that perspective, you start to hear what they're saying. Now, I'm a big proponent of listening to what people are saying, specifically about what they're saying about this moment in time, because I think this moment in time is the pinpoint of creation. So I'm listening to what they're saying. I listen for things like, I want to help them do this. I want to, give them this amazing thing that'll help them in the future. I want to relieve them of struggle with this, and this. I want to help them with this, and this. I want to make sure that they have longevity and prosperity through all of their life. These are the things that I listen for. I often quote the Socrates quote, "When the debate is lost, slander becomes the tool of the loser." I also listen for slander. What is slander? Name calling, disparagements, trying to knock people down. When I hear one side saying, we just have to stop them because they're doing bad things, no matter which direction it is, I tend to turn that volume down on those people. In the modern time, they're both doing that. Both sides are doing that. But one side will always stand out as saying more loving things than the other. Always. Always happens every time. So if you stop listening to the rhetoric and the slanders, and you start just listening to what they're saying about the future you'd like our children to have. That's all you need to do. I don't care which side you think is better. Which side is actually doing something or working towards something to help the future, and which side is just saying they're bad and horrible. We need to undo whatever they do, and um, it comes down to you looking at the world with your love goggles. Just like I talk about spiritual texts, I say read the Bible with your love goggles on. Read the loving parts, right? Because the fearful parts is there. They're going to be on both sides of your argument. They're both going to have the threats to democracy on both sides. They're both going to say it. They're going to say all kinds of big rhetoric just to scare people into voting the way they want them to vote. That's another thing. Going back to the love and fear. Who's talking fear and who's talking love? Who is talking about love more than fear, and who is talking about fear more than love? When you come and just sit back and look at who's talking. And I have not yet said anything about which party, right? Whichever party is talking the more loving future, they got my vote. They got my vote. The party that's talking fear and anger and violence and retribution and various things, I have a hard time with that because that's not loving. That's fearful. That's anger. That's not progress. That's not solutions. That's anger. That's fear. And so I don't go that direction. I still have not said who I'm voting for in this video. No matter what I just said, I have not said who I'm voting for in this video. But as I said these things, you started obviously seeing a side that you fall into, a camp that you fall into. The interesting thing about that, if you see love on one side, vote that side. If you see love on the other side, vote that side. I don't care which side you vote for. All I care about is that we give our children a more loving, prosperous, and healthy world. That's all I care about. Because, I'm 60. What do I got? 25 more years? Man, 30 more years? My son's got a lot more years than me. I mean, he's probably got another 70 years. I want him to have a beautiful life. So as a spiritual person, my job is to stay focused on love, to stay focused on electing people and voting for people who are loving, to help people who are fearful to see the loving aspects by literally being loving to them. Sharing without a political divide who you're voting for is fine. I say to people all the time, I'm a one-issue voter. I'm going to vote for the person who I think will give my son a more loving and healthy and beautiful world. And the people who are screaming, yelling, and hollering right now, in my opinion, they're not the ones to do it. So it comes down to be the loving person. That spirituality dictates that you are. If I am truly a loving, caring, spiritual person, then my job in these times of struggle and strife between parties, affiliations, is to remain loving, to stay focused on love. Mother Teresa said that she wouldn't go to an anti-war rally, go to a pro-peace rally. I'm like, oh, be the peace, be the love, be the joy, be the healthy future, be the expression of the world to come, and watch as people around you shift. But the second you draw a line and saying, you are this and I am that, and I don't like you because of this, it ends relationships. It makes struggle come harsh. But if you're a loving individual, you will end up being someone who will create a loving world. And when you see harmful things being done, it's okay to call them out. When you see, people being harmed, humanity being harmed, what does that mean? That means humans. It means my fellow man. Whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, my brother doesn't enter the border. My brother is every human on earth. My sister is every human on earth. You know, humanity. If you want to be a truly human person, one who really cares about humanity, then delineations and divisions of political structures or borders cannot be a part of your equation. It's got to be simply loving one another. And that is what spirituality is. You can fall to the side of love or you can fall to the side of fear. I know who I'm voting for. You're probably pretty sure you know who I'm voting for. But I haven't said anything in this video that says what I'm voting for, who I'm voting for, except for why I'm voting and who I'm choosing because of the way they are talking. Are they being loving? Are they being caring? Are they being fearful? I'm going to lean towards the love every time, every day of the week. And that's my thought on spirituality in election year. Don't allow the fears of others to sway you from love. Stay loving no matter what. That lady in the backyard baked me cookies because I did not succumb to her fearful act. I did not become enraged by her fearful act. I didn't escalate her fearful act. I just said, no, we're not going to talk about politics. And I never thought about it again. Talked to her, had a great time talking to her for multiple, trips that they came to my house to get that wood. Beautiful. It does not matter. Be the loving person in every year, be it an election year or not. And that's my thought of this. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.